Mad Dok Grotsnik, also known as the Pain Boss, is an Ork Painboy from the Death Skull clan who is arguably one of the most infamous and deranged individuals within the entire field of Orcish medicine. Even prior to his general loss of sanity, Grotsnik harboured a deep fascination regarding the inner workings of the Ork brain, and would never turn down an opportunity to study or experiment upon such a complex organ. The Painboy would obtain a level of notoriety and infamy following the undertaking of a life-saving surgical procedure which he had performed upon a young orc named Ghazghkull, whose brain had been pulped by a bolter round. After having a significant portion of his skull and brain replaced with solid adamantium, Ghazghkull would begin claiming that he was in communion with the orc gods, Gork and Mork, and before long would begin his rapid rise to power. Due to having operated upon Ghazghkull a mere week prior to his ascension to Warlord, Grotsnik experienced an incredible surge in popularity, and the Painboy would even successfully convince many of his tribe's richest nobs to undergo what had been coined as the Ghazghkull Special, replacing much of their skulls with solid adamantium, as well as, unbeknownst to his patients, a generous amount of explosives. Should any of these knobs prove troublesome or even a mild irritant in the future, then Grotsnik would simply detonate the explosives in order to rid himself of the problem. While the warband's various knobs eventually learned of these explosive craniums, there was little that the orcs could do to exact their revenge, as Grotsnik was now under the personal protection of Ghazghkull himself, a position of privilege that the Painboy enjoys even to this day. Instead, the knobs decided to arrange an accident for Grotsnik involving a seemingly defective Death Dread. As Grotsnik conducted his examination, the Dreadnought would violently maul the Painboy, culminating with the construct carving open his skull with its buzzsaw before eventually wandering off out of boredom. As the life slowly ebbed away from him, Grotsnik's Gretchen orderlies would drag their master's body into his medical tent, and the Painboy would find himself under the knife. Despite the numerous complications that occurred during the surgery, which involved a misplaced lunch, a runaway spider, and the orc dying countless times throughout the operation, Grotsnik would, inexplicably, recover from his injuries, although he would be driven utterly mad as a result. Emerging from his tent, Grotsnik would begin to dance and sing with maniacal glee throughout the camp, as he repeatedly detonated the explosive craniums of those that sought to murder him, with each wet, percussive boom adding to his highly grandiose and operatic performance. Since then, Grotsnik would perform a number of increasingly demented and bizarre experiments upon those brave or foolish enough to seek him out for treatment, such as quick brain transplants or even gradually replacing his own limbs with those harvested from his comatose patients. In time, Grotsnik would come to lead his own warband comprised of various Death Skulls, freebooters, and numerous other Painboys, which would come to be known as the Corpse Looters. As implied by their name, the Corpse Looters will harvest the dead from various battlefields, giving Grotsnik plenty of biological material with which to conduct his various experiments. In early M42, Grotsnik's forces would launch an assault against an isolated strike cruiser belonging to the Silver Templars chapter of the Adeptus Astartes, taking several Primaris marines prisoner in the process. What the Painboy intends to do with such prisoners, however, remains unknown. So what could be Grotsnik's ultimate motivation behind capturing such a vast number of Primaris marines? The most likely answer would be that Grotsnik intends on studying the biology of Primaris marines for the purpose of future genetic experimentation. The reason for this would be due to the fact that Primaris marines are noticeably larger, stronger, and more resilient than the older firstborn Astartes that orcs are more traditionally accustomed to, and thus it seems fairly likely that Grotsnik would seek to understand the reasoning behind such a drastic increase in both size and toughness. Part of the reason behind a Primaris marine's increased size and strength would be due to the three unique organs that are born by this newest breed of Astartes: the Sinew Coils, Magnificat, and Belisarian Furnace. The Sinew Coils are a series of durametallic cables that are interwoven throughout the musculature of a Primaris marine, granting these warriors not only greater strength, but a measure of increased durability. The Magnificat, which is implanted into a Primaris' brain, secretes a number of hormones that help stimulate growth throughout the entire body. The Belisarian furnace, located between a Primaris Marine's heart, acts as a form of biological defibrillator, delivering a large dosage of stimulants throughout the body upon experiencing extreme stress or physical trauma, allowing the Primaris to not only fight through seemingly fatal wounds, but also temporarily bolster their body's regeneration process, allowing them to withstand blows that would outright kill a firstborn Astartes. With this information in mind, it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that Grotsnik would seek to utilize the unique biological implants found within Primaris Marines, perhaps even replicate them, for the purpose of making larger, stronger, and more durable Ork warriors. After all, as detailed within the 8th edition Ork Codex, Grotsnik has been known to create malformed monstrosities known as Stitch Boys, which are described as being, for lack of a better term, biologically customized. As such, since the Painboy has a history of creating biologically enhanced warriors, then it would only make sense for him to attempt to unlock the secrets of the Primaris genome. While the scientists and medical experts of various factions, such as the Homunculi Covens of the Drukhari, or the mad scientist Fabius Bile of the Emperor's Children, have all attempted to unravel the genetic mysteries of the Primaris, Grotsnik, despite being utterly insane, may have the greatest chance of deciphering such secrets. The reasoning for this is that, unlike the medics of other races, who need to be extensively trained in the arts of medicine, Grotsnik by contrast does not. As a Painboy, Grotsnik is capable of performing incredibly complex surgical procedures at an instinctive level, and should he ever be questioned on the subject, the Ork may simply respond that performing surgery is in his blood. While such a claim may seem somewhat absurd, it is also incredibly close to being literally true. Painboys, along with the other types of specialist Orks known collectively as Odd Boys, have artificial DNA strands encoded into their genetic sequence, which grants these Orks all the knowledge and skills that they require in order to perform their respective roles within Ork society. This in turn would strongly indicate that Grotsnik may not only have all the necessary knowledge to create his own unique versions of Primaris organs, but also render them somewhat compatible with Orkoid physiology, allowing him to create his very own Primarorks. These hypothetical Primarorks could even be Grotsnik's attempt at creating an entirely new generation of Crork. It's well known that the more frequently an Ork fights, the larger they will grow, and should an Ork prove victorious upon the battlefield or even in a simple barroom brawl, they will grow to be larger still, resulting in war bosses and warlords typically being the largest and most aggressive greenskins within the general vicinity. While the largest Orks encountered by the Imperium today will grow to around the size of a Space Marine dreadnought, give or take a few feet, these brutes have been known to grow to sizes which simply dwarf modern-day specimens. During the War of the Beast, many of the Orks encountered by Imperial forces were noted to be far larger than usual, with many lesser Orks growing to the sizes that were more commonly expected of war bosses. The warlord known as the Beast had itself grown so large, standing close to 10 meters in height, that Imperial forces had initially misidentified the Ork as a statue due to the amount of armor that the brute wore. The Ancient Crork, by contrast, from which all modern-day Orks are descended from, could grow even larger still. As detailed within the novel Clone Lord, the Crork were known to grow up to at least 12 meters in height, making them almost as large as a Warhound-class Scout Titan, with some specimens potentially growing in excess of this. Because of this, should Grotsnik ever unlock the genetic secrets found within Primaris organs, or those of the Magnificat specifically, then this could very well result in Grotsnik finding a way to hyper-accelerate the natural growth process of Orkoids, allowing him to effectively be the father of an entirely new generation of Crork. Should the Painboy prove successful in this endeavour, if he were indeed attempting such a plan at all, then this could result in the Imperium facing a threat so great that it may very well succeed in driving humanity to extinction. But then again, perhaps Grotsnik had no ulterior motive in mind when his corpse looters captured the Silver Templars, and that the Painboy may simply want to perform a number of more mundane or, frankly, bizarre experiments out of simple boredom or curiosity. Perhaps Grotsnik may simply wish to see how a Primaris Marine reacts to a squig brain transplant or having their arm replaced with an exploding leg. Only time will tell. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.